Hello everyone. In this topic, we'll discuss about Azure role-based access control, which is also called as RBAC. When you have a multiple IT and engineering teams, how do you control the access for the resources? There is something called as apply least privilege. Apply least privilege, which says if the IT admin is part of a team who are responsible to create a virtual machine, give access to create only to create the virtual machine. So basically, you just give access to create the virtual machine and not giving any other access. So simply you give access to create the virtual machine, not asking them to create storage account or creating the web application. So you don't give any of these access, you only grant these access to create the virtual machine. So this is what least privilege. Good security practice to follow is if you only need to give read access to a storage blob, then you should give only read access. You should not give any write access to the storage blob, and also you should not also give any other access for other storage accounts. So you basically limit the access for the resources. So if you wanted to manage this kind of level of permission, it will be a tedious job because there are not only one user as an IT admin or engineering team. There can be multiple admins, right? So if I take IT admin hierarchy, there can be admin for the Entra ID, so which is Active Directory administrator. There can be admin for compute. There can be admin for networks. There can be admin for storage. There can be admin for database as well. There can be admin for security. So if you have these many teams and each of the team has a different hierarchy, L1, L2, L3. So similarly for compute, similarly for network, you have these kind of hierarchy, right? And managing the access for all these IT admins will be a tedious job. Because of that, Azure has something called as built-in roles. So instead of defining detailed access for each and every admin at different hierarchy who joins the team, basically, Azure has a feature which is called as RBAC. So this is role-based access control. Azure enables you to control access through Azure role-based access control. Azure provides built-in roles that describe common access rules for cloud resources. So there are hundreds of built-in rules which you can use. There are built-in rules for each services, virtual machine, storage, SQL, network. So there are hundreds of built-in roles which you can use to manage your resources. You can also define your own roles. So this is your custom roles. You can create your own custom roles. So custom role is basically when an IT admin, so this is an IT admin, he wear multiple hats, right? If he wanted to create storage account, he can also create virtual machine. He can also create networks. So when this IT admin wear multiple hats and you wanted to combine the roles, so these are the roles which you wanted to combine. So this is one of the built-in role. This is also one of the built-in role, and this is also one of the built-in role. You combine all these roles together and associate with this IT admin. So let us say this IT admin name is John, and John is wearing storage account role. He will be able to create virtual machines. He can also work on networks. So you combine the roles all together and associate to this user, John. Each role has an associated set of access permissions that relate to that particular role. So if you have created a storage account, this is particular to storage account. If you are creating a role for virtual machine to create a virtual machine, this is specific to creation of virtual machine. So this set of access will be associated to the user. Since we have combined the roles with storage, virtual machine, and networks, this is the combined role. Let us say if I wanted to associate a built-in role, which is backup operator. So this is one of the built-in role in Azure. I will be able to associate this particular built-in role to user John. So each role has an associated set of access. This role can be used only to take the backups. Take backup. So backup of virtual machine, SQL database. So these are the things which you can do with the backup operator. When you assign individuals or groups to one or more roles, they receive all the associated access permissions. So we have seen associating the role, which is custom role, to a particular user, which is an individual user. You can associate the role to an individual user or to group of users. So this is the group. Let us say this is also IT admin, and they are the database admin. For this group, I wanted to associate a role related to database. So I can choose the built-in roles. So I'll choose the built-in role which is available, and once I associate the built-in role to this particular group, it applies to all the users. Instead of associating to one user, I am straight away associating this particular built-in role to all the users within the ITDB admin team. So let us call this as IT database admin team, right? And this will be L3 team. I have created a role for the L3 and I have associated this role to the L3 group. So this is the group. So now all the users who are part of this group will be able to do create, delete, and they will be able to take any action on the database what they have created. How is role-based access control applied to resources? Role-based access control is applied to a scope. Let us see in the diagram, there is a relationship between roles and scope. This is the scope and this is the role. Let us see what is the relationship. Say, for example, there is a user whose name is John, and John is part of billing department. This is also part of IT department. Since John has been given with a reader access role at the scope is management group. Since John has been given access at the management group for the reader role, he will be able to view the complete hierarchy. He will be able to view the management group because management group has multiple subscription. He will be able to view all the subscription which are part of management group, and he will be able to view the subscription as well, resource group, and also he will be able to view the resources under the resource group. There can be multiple resource group because he has been given the access at the management group scope. Then the hierarchy will be from management group, from the top level till the bottom level, till the resource. He will be able to view all the information. If the same John user is only given access to view specific resource, it can be virtual machine, it can be web app, it can be any database. So if he has given only specific to this particular resource, he will be able to view only this resource information. He will not be able to view any information related to bottom up approach. So any access which has given at the top level will follow the hierarchy. So if John has been given at the resource group level, he will be able to view all the information from the resource group till the resources. So it will be specific to the resource group. If it is at the subscription, then from the subscription till the resources, you will be able to read or view the information. So let us understand once again. John is part of the billing department and he has been assigned with a role of reader role. This reader role has been associated with management group scope. Since management group scope is at the top level, whatever resources which you are creating from the management group, John will be able to view all the information. So management group has multiple subscription. Each of the subscription, he will be able to view the information. And there can be multiple resource group under each subscription. John will be able to view all the information related to any resource group which are part of any subscription within the management group. And he will be able to view information related to the resources as well. So let us take an example of owner role. I have an admin whose name is Entra. So I have an IT admin whose name is Entra. Entra has been assigned with the owner role permission and he has been associated to a management group scope. Now, Entra is at this level. Since Entra has the full control because he is the owner, he will be able to create, delete or update from the management group till the resources. So he has the full control. He can create resource, delete resource or update the resources from the management group till the resources. So this is how the hierarchy works at roles and scopes. And if Entra has been assigned with the owner role and he has been associated at this particular scope, which is at the resource scope, he will be able to create, delete and update only at the resource scope. So he will not be able to do anything above the resource, which is resource group, subscription and management group. He will not be able to view, he will not be able to create, delete or update. He can only work at the scope of resource. So the scopes can include a management group, which is a collection of multiple subscription, a single subscription itself, a resource group, or it can be of a single resource. So the scope will be at management group, subscription, a resource group, or it can be a single resource. It can be web app, it can be virtual machine, it can be database, it can be any resources within that particular resource group. Azure RBAC is hierarchical in that when you grant access at the parent scope, those permissions are inherited by all the child scopes. So when you assign the owner role to a user at the management group scope, that particular user will be able to manage everything from the management group till the resources within the management group hierarchy. Say if you have assigned a reader role to a group of users at the subscription scope, the members of that particular group can view information related to the resource group and the resources within the subscription. So how is Azure RBAC enforced? Azure RBAC is enforced on action against any Azure resource. Example, when you create a virtual machine, a read storage blob, view subscription, then it has to pass through the Azure Resource Manager. Resource Manager is a management service that provide a way to organize and secure your cloud resources. So basically the Resource Manager checks who is trying to perform the action. Does that particular user has access to the resources to perform the action? And if the checks are done, then it will be allowed or denied to perform the action. You typically access a Resource Manager from Azure Portal, Cloud Shell, Azure PowerShell, and also using the Azure CLI. So Azure RBAC is not meant to enforce access permission at the application or at the data level. Application security must be handled by your application. Azure RBAC uses an allow model. If one role assignment grants you read permission and the other role grants you write permission to a resource group, you have both the permissions granted, which means you have both the permission which is read and write permission for the same resource group. Let's say we have an user who is part of the compute admin group. So this user is part of the compute admin group who is John user, and this user is also part of network admin group. So now in the compute admin group, John has been provided with the owner role. So this owner role has been associated to John, and in network admin group, John has been associated with read access role for the network. Now, John will have the combined role of owner plus read. So you'll have owner role at the compute admin group and read role at the network admin group. So this is to view the network, view the virtual network, view the subnet, view the IP address. Here you will be able to create virtual machine, delete virtual machines, and add disks, create network security group. So using this particular role, you will be able to do all these actions. Since he has the read permission at the network admin group, you will be able to view only the information related to the network, which is virtual network subnets and the IP address, which are part of the network. So this was an overview about RBAC. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the content, please subscribe and share the video. Thank you and take care.